Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Monday, December 5th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Another incredible thing happened this weekend. Maybe it's me, maybe the rest of the American people just shrugging this stuff off now, but I'm just horrified. So Elon Musk, y'all know, and if you don't, I wrote a column on Sunday, and you really should download that column so you have it, because it's just a facts. That's all it is, and what he's doing and why he's doing it. Okay, so he on Friday basically says, look, the fix was in at Twitter, we can prove it, to put Joe Biden in the White House. That's a pretty damn big story, right? One of the most powerful corporations in the world is fixing the election. Now, maybe Musk doesn't have the goods. Possible that when it comes down crunch time, it'll be circumstantial or whatever, but it's a fairly big headline. But no CBS, no NBC, ABC, no. I mean, with ABC, there was probably a heavy rainstorm somewhere to knock it out. But, you know, it's just, I'm saying to myself, do you have no one in your organizations that understands the news? This is news, okay? So, and it's also the Talking Points Memo. Musk is an interesting character. You can't really pin him down, but it looks to me like he's going to put out a whole lot of stuff that demonstrates corruption at Twitter. That looks like where this is going. Some of that stuff will land in the networks, and that's why they don't want to cover the story, because they could be involved. Now, I'm not making an accusation. I haven't seen what Musk has, but certainly possible. Then you have the committees that are going to come on up in January and say, not only was the fix in at Twitter, we believe, the Republicans will say that, but also we have possible corruption at the highest levels where money is changing hands. Another huge story. All right, just remember Ted Agnew. You don't know who he is, look him up. So as soon as this story breaks, Trump goes wild. And he harkens back to the 60 Minutes broadcast with Leslie Stahl. Let me refresh your memory. Go.
You know, this is 60 Minutes. And we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No.
Well, it was verified by Mueller, the special counsel, that, you know, there were a number of people who spied on the Trump campaign, but Leslie goes, no, because she didn't want to believe it. And that was right before the vote, about 2 weeks before the vote, that Q&A. So Trump is like, you can imagine how angry he is. But then he goes over. Okay, so I got this, I got about 3 texts from him. And this was the most provocative, put it on up there. A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections, unquote. Okay, but that's not exactly true. There's a mechanism to challenge electoral fraud. You just don't say, well, it was fraud, so I'm president. But that's what Donald Trump is doing. And again, this is the kind of thing that the media grabs onto to obfuscate, am I saying it right? The bigger story. So look at crazy Trump again. Oh, we don't really care that it looks like there was fairly significant fraud in this election. The fix was anyway. I don't care. But look what he's saying now. All right, now Donald Trump again, there's only one pathway here, only one. So he gets his lawyers to put together a case of fraud, during the election and he brings it to the Supreme Court. That's it. No other way. You can't just say, well, they did it to me, so I'm president. Anyway, I think that Donald Trump now is a little bit lost. And with the Kanye West stuff and all of that, he doesn't seem to have a clear pathway going forward. My opinion and my opinion only. So I have two good guests, and that's the memo, by the way. And then we'll get to Biden after the guessing. And one is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump. The other used to be, but is bailed. So let's go to Monica Crowley, who is the former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury during the Trump administration, and she hosts the Monica Crowley podcast these days. So it's getting harder to defend your guy, is it not?
Well, look, President Trump hasn't been in office, Bill, for 2 years, and he has spent the last 2 years trying to bring the truth to the American people. And this Twitter dump proves that Donald Trump has been right about everything when he said that they were spying on his campaign and undermining his presidency, and the Russia hoax and the 2 fake impeachments, and then that the big tech was working hand in glove with the Biden campaign and then the FBI and DOJ to torpedo him. So he has spent the last 2 years trying to do that, and now he's announced that he is running again. I do agree with you to some extent that, and this has been true for Trump throughout his political career in the last 7 years, that too often there are unforced errors. There are things that he says and does that are unnecessary that then create a controversy, a problem for him, legal problem, political problem, you name it. And that's not going to stop because that's who he is. He enjoys the controversy. He loves throwing grenades into the middle of the propaganda press to see how they're going to run with it so he can counterpunch. But I do think this, Bill, and this is where I think I agree with you. 2015 and 2016, when he first ran, he captured lightning in a bottle. And it is very difficult, if not impossible, politically to ever do that again. Richard Nixon was able to do it, you know, when he ran again in 1968 after losing in 1960 to JFK. But it is very, very difficult to do it, especially in this day and age.
It is,
So
but Trump has a record.
Now.
Trump gets a break because Biden is so incompetent and he has a record. So he can pivot and say, I'm going to run on my record. This guy is destroying the country. It's not like he doesn't have anything to go to. Yet, as you pointed out, he's still tossing the grenades. I mean, look, when you dine with Kanye West and the other nut, what do you think is going to happen? People don't pay attention to the news that much, but they know Kanye West and you are having supper at Mar-a-Lago, and they know Kanye West has said some anti-Semitic things. So what benefit is it to you, Donald Trump, to have supper with the man? I mean, I'm just asking logical questions.
Yeah, and you're right. And here's my criticism of Trump. And I consider Donald Trump to be my friend. He was my president and he is my friend. But I will say this, and this has been one of his Achilles heels from the very beginning, is that he doesn't have grown-ups around him who can vet this stuff before it gets to him. And at this late point in his political career, he should at least have that. There should have been someone to say, okay, Kanye West wants to come and have dinner with you. He wants your advice on how to get his career back on track. And Trump, being a good person, agreed to that. But the second Kanye shows up with these two wild characters who should not be dining with the former president of the United States, there was nobody around him to say this is a setup and you shouldn't do this.
Do you think that even if there, do you think, Monica, that even if there were somebody around and say, it's not a good idea, Trump would listen to him? I don't know anybody who listens to him.
Not necessarily. I agree with you. Donald Trump considers himself his own best counselor, advisor, etc. Even in the White House, he considered himself that. And while he is the best instinctual politician I have ever seen, and I worked with former President Nixon, I knew President Reagan a little bit, he is the best instinctual politician I've ever seen. But Bill, sometimes those instincts lead him astray, and it gets him into unnecessary trouble like that dinner did.
Well, he has a opportunity now because Musk is going to drop a lot more stuff, I believe. And if Trump would just get out of the way and not make lunatic statements about, hey, got to throw the Constitution out and make me president tomorrow, it would benefit him. Because we don't know what's coming, but we know it's not good for the Democrats. But Trump will step on the story and say, you see, I told you I should be president. And that's all the media will report. That's all they'll report. Correct?
Can I give a little bit of a different interpretation of what Trump put on Truth Social, that statement about the Constitution? I know most people are reading it the way you're reading it, Bill, and I think that that's a legitimate interpretation. But I read it a little differently. I heard Trump is an excellent communicator, but sometimes the language gets a little mangled with what he was trying to say. I think what he was trying to say is that if you have a fraudulent and rigged election, it allows for the termination of the Constitution, meaning that the leftists who are trying to destroy the Constitution and trying to tear this country apart and destroy it, that they now have an excuse to continue to do it because they rigged the election. So again, I'm not quite sure what Trump meant.
Yeah, but that's some political science class, Monica. I mean, the folks aren't going to go into that. They're just going to hear, oh, now he wants to throw out the Constitution so he can be president again. I mean, it is.
I think that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, look, right now, Trump's momentum is on the downside. Would you agree with that?
I think, yes. I think he's tied up legally. I think he's got all kinds of problems on his plate that he's going to have to deal with. And like I said, this time around is not 2016, where he was essentially a novelty act. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before. They wanted to give him a chance and see if he would deliver for the forgotten men and women, which he did during 4 years in the presidency. But the context has changed this time. The country has changed. The party has changed. We're in a completely different world now. So his entire approach to this run has to be different. I have not seen that yet, but that doesn't mean it's not coming from him.
All right. Well, maybe you can straighten him out there, Monica. Go down to Palm Beach and say, hey, you want to win, this is what you have to do. But he's not going to win as it stands now. As it stands now, election was tomorrow. Doesn't matter who's run against him. He doesn't win. My opinion, my humble opinion. Monica, thanks very much as always. I hope you enjoy the season.
Thank you, Bill. You too.
There is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers, rewrite American history, and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are now being threatened by the most liberal leftists our nation has ever seen. They have failed to secure our borders, weakened our position on the global stage, are trying to indoctrinate and corrupt our children in school, and the list goes on and on. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the far left. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in the USA. I am a member, and I hope you will join as well. AMAC members have access to money-saving benefits, a robust website and mobile app, and a magazine filled with all kinds of great content. So please join AMAC today at amac.us and tell them O'Reilly sent you. That's amac.us. Okay, so now let's get another point of view, but it's a different play. I don't want to bring in a Democrat to just cut up Trump. I mean, what good is that for anybody? It's predictable. We don't do predictable. I didn't think Monica was that predictable, but she's standing by her man, obviously. So joining us now from Reno, Nevada, is Amy Tarkanian. She is a Republican strategist who was a former Nevada State GOP chairman and supported Donald Trump, but no longer does. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
And why are you not supporting him?
Well, first of all, I need to say that I was a delegate for President Trump and I voted twice for President Trump. If anyone thought that Hillary Clinton were the better option, then you need to get your head examined. But, President Trump actually did some pretty amazing things as far as, with policy. But I think it was really the downfall for me is when he started to surround himself with grifters and conspiracy theorists. And then that led up to January 6th, where then he didn't move fast enough on trying to get people to stop what they were doing as far as, going to the Capitol, even though I don't think that was the intent, the original intent. And it seemed to become more of a self-serving situation rather than focusing on the nation overall. He was losing
Stop
his
this
focus.
right now. Well, there's no question he was late in trying to get those people out of the Capitol, but I don't think there's any evidence that he wanted that January 6th riot to take place. Have you seen any evidence of that?
No, I was just disappointed that he didn't do a George W. Bush moment and take a bullhorn and say enough. We need to unify and move on. And that just didn't seem to be the case. And I think, too, the self-inflicting wounds that you and Monica were touching on, with the fact of having dinner with Kanye West, with that Nick Fuentes guy who we know is an anti-Semite. These are self-inflicting wounds. And you've got him now, demeaning and demoralizing Governor Ron DeSantis, calling him Ron DeSanctimonious, attacking Governor Glenn Youngkin, saying that he sounds Chinese, like that's supposed to be a bad thing. He's his own worst enemy.
Well, he's always been, though, and he won the presidency. I mean, that's the reply. Look, this guy did something nobody else in American history ever did. He did it his way, as Paul Anka once sang, and he's not going to stop. So
Yeah.
I don't think Nevada right now, your state, would vote for Trump again. I don't think he's got enough juice in that state, because if he did, then the midterms would have gone to the GOP, and they did not. Correct?
Correct. And actually, he never won our state. He came close, but not close enough to get into the W column. And I think, unfortunately, too, because of the misbehavior, because of the brashness and some of the aggressiveness and I mean, quite honestly, he can be rude. And in the beginning, I think most people, at least Republicans, were happy to have somebody who was a fighter, who wasn't going to back down, who finally had a spine and taught people how to speak up and speak out. But then it just seemed to steamroll out of control. And so you had candidates, especially this go around, and unfortunately, I'm not a Mitch McConnell fan, but when he said that, the warning of basically questioning the quality of candidates, we saw that here in the state of Nevada. And we had a bunch of candidates who felt that they were going to emulate President Trump's misbehavior, not the good parts, but the bad parts, and try to pretend like that was a sign of strength. And in fact, it turned off the third party voters. And that happens to be our largest and fastest growing party registration as we speak.
Okay. Is there anything that could, look, Joe Biden's a disaster. Everybody knows it. Anybody who's honest knows it. And if he's not going to run again, but if he did, you couldn't vote for Biden, could you?
No, I would just hope that another strong GOP contender, more of a statesman or stateswoman who can bring those policies with the package. I'm hoping and praying for somebody to step up.
Are you ready to support DeSantis or Youngkin or any other Republican at this juncture?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
even if it was Kristi Noem, if it were Nikki Haley, Tim Scott. I mean, I think we have a much deeper bench than the Democrats by far.
Okay, but you haven't selected one person for your vote. I mean, you got a long time, obviously,
right?
But you're not in stone with one person.
I would love Governor Ron DeSantis. However, my friends in Florida don't want to see him go, and he's so young that he can actually wait. He can sit out for another term and have another successful term as governor. I know. I'm hearing behind the scenes that he's getting his ducks in a row.
If Trump self-destructs, it's Youngkin going to go in, and not Youngkin. It's DeSantis going to go in heavy. He's got the money to do it. But he doesn't want to go up and primary Trump, which is an interesting dilemma for a lot of Republicans. You don't want Trump and DeSantis tearing each other's throats out, which could happen. Last word.
Yeah, and it would be unfortunate, but yes, if Governor Ron DeSantis were to run, and I would definitely jump on his team, 100%.
Okay, thank you very much for helping us out, and have a nice holiday season. I hate that trite phrase, holiday season. How about enjoy the season in the desert?
Sounds good. Thank you, Bill.
Nice place to go. Inflation at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates skyrocketing. We all know that. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, not only predict a recession, but are using scary terms like economic hurricane and unprecedented. So, you need to call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Please call them today, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They have thousands of satisfied customers, are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Please call 866-501-5201, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Okay, so here's the final thought. Less than 3 weeks before Christmas, and my spies tell me that donations, charitable donations, are way down because of the inflation and the economy. Now, I haven't been able to verify that fact because the numbers aren't in yet, but that's the word on the street. And, you know, when you donate money, you have to be very careful about who you give it to and what they're going to do with it. So what we have done here at BillO'Reilly.com is I have a foundation, the William and Winifred O'Reilly Foundation. And we give away millions of dollars, and we've been doing that for, 15 years. But we do not take any money for the foundation. And we don't expense anything from the foundation. It's all, we have a foundation, I put money in it, and we donate to worthy enterprises. So, BillO'Reilly.com store goes right into the foundation because that's profits that we make. And what we have done is, and the store is very popular. But rather than think that all this money is coming to me, that you're spending at BillO'Reilly.com Christmas store, it's not. It's going to help people, and I am vigilant about who gets that money. So that's the true spirit of Christmas, donating to people who need help. But we go the extra mile, though we don't, just give money because somebody asked for it. No. So we are in business to help you. Number one, those gifts in the BillO'Reilly.com Christmas store are great. You'll love them. And the people who get them from you will love them. But I designed this thing so nobody, we're not going to do that. People giving us money. You know who does that? The Clinton Foundation. They take money from all kinds of people. And I just went, and they use the foundation's finances to travel around. We never do that. So I want you to know it. I want to help as many people as I can this Christmas, Hanukkah. If you go to the Christmas store, I will like you very much. And we will be back tomorrow with another episode of the No Spin News. See you then. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com.